Rachel.
Hi, Holly. How are you?
Good. How are you? It's great to
Good.
see you
It's
again.
nice to see you too.
Awesome.
Thanks for making time for me this week.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Let's see. Our last session, we talked a lot about you and Jesse, and you didn't know if you were going to kind of go your separate ways because of the different religious views that you both had. So I was wondering, like, what you're coming to this session with, and how are you, and how are things going with that?
Yeah. Wow. I guess a lot has happened since last week, since I
Sure.
saw you last. Yeah, so we got together again over the weekend, and I guess as I had told you last time, it had come up that he had some religious views that I didn't really know about, and I guess it sort of caught me off guard. Just because he doesn't seem to like live those things in his everyday life, so I didn't really know. And yeah, we've only been together for 2 months, but I guess I just never saw that. So it's all been really like shocking and surprising for me. So yeah, we got together over the weekend to talk about it, and it just seems like we're both kind of rigid in our ways with how we think about things, and I don't know, I guess it's hard because it's not really something that either of us feels like we can compromise on. And yeah, he really wants to, baptize his children and take them to church on the weekends, and he wants that to be like a family experience. And yeah.
And how do you feel about those things?
It's really made me question my own beliefs, because I really feel like I know what I believe in and what I want from a partner, but there are some things that I do think since I've had the chance to think about it, that I am willing to compromise on. Like, I told him that, it's not something I had originally wanted, but I would be willing to baptize my children if that was a big deal to his side of the family, since his dad was raised Catholic. And I said I was willing to like go to church on holidays or something like that, but
well, and those are compromises right there.
Yeah, you're right. Those are compromises. I guess I told him I was never going to adopt that belief system. Like, I don't personally believe in God, and I'm never going to feel attached to like an organized religion, and that it's, I would identify myself as being more spiritual, but not necessarily religious, and so it's just brought up a lot, and we did end up, after talking about it a lot, we decided to end our relationship.
Oh, that's tough. How are you feeling now about everything?
It just seemed like there were no other options, and so it just seemed like that's what we had to do. Like, there wasn't really a way of compromising things, and it's just interesting now because it's like we're talking about this hypothetical thing, like having kids in the future and how we want to raise them, and it's like we've only been together for a couple months, but I think we both know that that's like really ultimately what we want in life, and so but it's funny because he just doesn't live those things in his everyday life, so it's hard because I keep wanting to go back to like, well, it doesn't even really seem to matter. Like, it's hard to look at someone and be like, I love you, I want to be with you, everything else is great about our relationship.
So do you kind of feel like he not changed his mind, but kind of sprung this on you when you didn't know him? I mean, even 2 months, it's not a very long relationship, but that's a lot of time to spend with somebody and not know that about them.
Yeah,
Did you feel kind of deceived at all?
I was surprised, and I did feel like all of a sudden, like, how did I not know this about you, that it was that important? And honestly, I don't think he's ever really questioned those things for himself either, and so I think this is like bringing up a lot for him about like how he was raised, what he wants in his future, and I think he's never really had to question it in his life, so I think he's really taking time.
Sure, he's probably pretty confused, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So you've told me a lot about the situation, but I'd like to know how else you're feeling about it. I totally get that there weren't a lot of other options, but I'd like to know how you feel other than just like knowing how the situation is right now.
It feels good to like be able to stand up for something that I truly like believe in and feel in my heart, and
it takes a lot of strength. as a person, especially when you care about somebody, to have to make that decision not to be with them.
Yeah, it's been a real struggle. But it does feel good to really know like what I want and not to get caught up in the fact that I really care about him. It's like it's a weird situation because like part of me just wants to like figure out how to make it work with him, but then part of me is like, no, this is who I am, and I can't really let go of that. And I would never want to ask him to like let go of his beliefs either.
It's such a hard situation because this is your belief system, and this is who you are, and that's who he is.
Yeah.
So it must have been really difficult to make that break when you did care about him a lot and he cared about you.
Yeah. It's an interesting it's interesting too because I really can see the way he's acting about this breakup. He's really sad. He calls me and tells me how much he misses me and like that this just feels so wrong and that we have to figure this out somehow. And he's actually going to be going to therapy on Tuesday and wants to just sort of bounce all these things off of somebody and talk again. But it's interesting because I really see myself in him in this breakup. And all my past breakups, I've been the one to grasp for anything to make it work. And on this time around, for the first time in my life, I feel really like comfortable sticking to like being true to myself, I guess. So,
well, that's amazing. A lot of people really struggle with that.
Yeah, it feels really good to be able to do that. So, yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you really stayed true to yourself, and even though it was really difficult, and that it's very confusing when you feel like you know somebody and then you find out that this aspect of their life was much more important than you really thought.
Yeah.
But it does sound like you feel good about yourself and about the decision.
I do.
It sounds like you're doing what's right for you.
I do. I think I am, and it does feel good. This is also sort of a hard time to go through a breakup because, at school right now we're kind of in the middle of midterms, and that's just sort of stressful within itself, and I've just felt kind of bogged down by my workload at school and just stuff at my internship, so it's like that felt really solid to me, like having that person in my life that was
someone to count on.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like a hard time to go through that because I already feel stressed out and upset about it.
So it sounds like all of kind of every aspect of your life is a little overwhelming right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Do you have other friends who you've been connecting with, or what else have you been doing for yourself in this overwhelming time?
I think the thing that helps me the most is going to yoga. So I've been trying to, do that. I had sort of neglected it for a little while because I just got busy and I just didn't really make time for it. And but then I realized, I get that feeling like, oh, I really need to go, and then I start going again, and it becomes more routine, and that really feels good. And I have great friends. I have
That's wonderful.
a good group of girlfriends, and my mom has been really supportive, and
good.
we've had a lot of talks too. This has brought up a lot of just about like religion and how I grew up, and my mom's viewpoints on that, and it's just been like we've had a lot of good dialogue about it. So I have a lot of support, and so I don't feel like I'm all alone and don't have anybody to talk to.
Sure. Well, it sounds like you have some really great social supports and family supports, and you're also doing what you can to take care of yourself. Because some things, school it's like you can't control that this happened during midterms. That's just a total random, life happening thing. But it sounds like you're handling it pretty well.
Thank you. I feel good about it, and thank you for the reminder too, because it's good for me to remember the importance of taking care of myself in these situations, because it's sometimes really easy to lose sight of that. My birthday's coming up next week, and I think that's one thing that's going to be sad too, and I'll be interested to check in with you again next week because I'll have had my birthday in the meantime, and I was really looking forward to Jesse meeting all my friends in that way, and like we're gonna go out to dinner and go out dancing, and so it's just sort of disappointing, and he's been asking if he can still come, and
that'd be tough.
Yeah,
and that's hard when you were counting on that. It's the same thing, like that was something you would expect, like, that he would be at your birthday, but
it's those future things that you look forward to that
Yeah.
I think I'm having the hardest time with. Like we had
Mhm.
planned a vacation to Florida and just having them there for at my birthday and meeting all my friends. I think it's just like I got so excited and now it's like, oh, those things aren't gonna happen. So
Yeah.
yeah. So but yeah, I mean a lot's coming up in the next week and I think as time continues I'll, you know, be able to continue to process it and yeah. So do we have an appointment next week then?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
You know, I'd really encourage you to keep going to yoga, keep meeting with your friends and like reaching out to those social supports. As I know sometimes when you're upset, you just like want to withdraw and not talk to anybody.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you are reaching out, and I think that's so wonderful, and it's going to really help you in the long run.
Thanks. That's a good reminder because I do withdraw. You know me well, and from our sessions together, so I think you know that I sometimes do that. So thanks for the reminder.
Sure.
Yeah. So I'll I'll plan on talking to you next week, and
Okay.
yeah, that'll be perfect.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Sure, I'm so glad that you could make it in. And I will see you next week.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.